The morning sun barely peeks over the horizon when Elara Moreau realizes she's late. Again, she sprints down the cracked sidewalks of Belleford, the cold air cutting through her thin jacket, her breath visible in the dawn light. Her phone buzzes, another missed call from her mother's nurse. Another reminder, another weight on her already tired shoulders. Inside Le Petit Seal, the café is already buzzing, with the familiar faces of locals who depend on the warmth of the place more than they depend on the heat of their own homes. But today, the atmosphere feels different, heavy, expectant. As Elara rushes behind the counter, little Sophie, her 7-year-old niece, clings to her sleeve. The girl's eyes are a quiet storm of fear and longing. "Auntie, did you talk to the school yet?" she whispers. Elara forces a smile. "Not yet, sweetheart, but we'll figure it out." Sophie's school had threatened to suspend her if her guardian Elara couldn't pay the overdue fees. And Elara, she was already drowning in medical bills for her mother, working double shifts, sacrificing her career, sacrificing everything. Just as the door chimes ring again, Elara whispers internally, "Please, not today, not another crisis." But crisis is exactly what walks in. Adrien Leclair, the billionaire whose photo appears in every financial magazine, the man whose investments reshape entire cities and ruin communities without blinking. His black coat sweeps behind him like a villain's cape. His eyes scan the café with the same cold calculation one would use to price livestock. Conversations die. Forks pause mid-air. Even the coffee machine hisses softer. Elara swallows. "Not him, not here, not now." Adrien takes a seat near the window, disdain dripping from every gesture. When Elara approaches, he doesn't look up. Instead, he mutters in French, assuming she won't understand. "Of course, another run-down peasant café with staff to match. This will be easy to buy." Pathetic. She freezes. Her face burns. Her throat tightens. And yet, she stays silent. For Sophie, for her mother, for rent, for survival. "Bonjour, monsieur," she manages softly. "What can I get for you?" Adrien finally meets her eyes slowly, intentionally, the way one might acknowledge a housekeeping robot rather than a human being. "You can get me someone competent," he says again in French, louder this time, cruel enough that the entire café hears the ridicule without understanding the words. The room falls silent. Elara's heart cracks. They don't know he's insulting me. They don't know he's calling me worthless. They don't know he thinks he can buy us all. And worse, he can. Rumors had already been swirling. Adrien planned to buy Belleford's riverside district and bulldoze it. The café would be gone. Jobs lost. Families displaced. Including hers. Sophie tugs on her apron. "Auntie, are you okay?" Elara forces another smile. "Of course, darling. Go sit with Mrs. Patel, okay?" But inside, she is unraveling. This man, this stranger, has the power to destroy what little she has left. Her home, her job, her community, her mother's care, Sophie's school, everything. Adrien snaps his fingers. "Coffee, black. Do try not to mess it up." His smirk is a blade. The entire café watches. Some look confused, others uneasy. None know the full cruelty of his words. "Hey, beautiful souls, before we go deeper, tell me, where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments." This story is just beginning. Elara retreats behind the counter, hands shaking, breath uneven. She forces herself to prepare his drink, but her mind spirals back to the years she spent earning her PhD, the lectures she gave, the students she mentored, the research that was supposed to change her future. Now, she's being mocked like she's nothing. She bites her lip until she tastes blood. "Stay calm. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know what you're capable of." But it still hurts. Her internal storm only intensifies when the nurse calls again. "Elara, your mother had another episode. We need you to come in today. It's important." She can't leave work. She can't afford another reprimand. And she certainly can't afford another medical bill. She feels like the universe is tightening around her throat. Adrien taps the table impatiently. When she brings him the coffee, he looks her up and down as though deciding the worth of a defective item. "Mon Dieu," he mutters. Even your posture screams failure. Her jaw tightens. The calf listens. Humiliation, fear, rage, desperation. And yet, she stays kind. Because kindness is all she has. Because kindness is her mother's voice echoing in her memory. Kindness is a language everyone understands, Elara. But today, that feels like a lie. Adrien hands her the empty cup. Less than a minute later, I'm done, he announces. Terrible coffee, terrible service, terrible town. How much for this entire block? I'll buy it by noon. The calf gasps. Sophie begins to cry silently in the corner. Elara's hands go cold. He's not just cruel. He's here to destroy us. And just when it seems the humiliation is over, Adrien leans forward and whispers a final jab still in French. Women like you never amount to anything. You exist to serve men like me. Elara's heart pounds. Her breath shakes. Her vision blurs. She wants to scream. She wants to fight. She wants to reveal who she truly is. But she can't. Not yet. Because Adrien Leclair is hiding something too. Something he thinks no one will ever discover. Something that will turn this entire story upside down. And though Elara doesn't know it yet, her moment is coming. Her silence is almost over. Beautiful souls, stay with me, because what happens next will change everything. The calf empties slowly after Adrien's storm of arrogance. Conversations resume, but whispers float like dust in the air. People sense something is wrong, even if they don't know the language that bruised Elara's spirit. Elara stands behind the counter, staring blankly at the espresso machine. Her hands still tremble. Sophie sits with Mrs. Patel, wiping tears from her cheeks. The child's sadness is a knife twisting through Elara's chest. She whispers to herself, I can't let him take this place. I can't lose this town. I can't fail my family. Then a voice interrupts the silence. You understood him, didn't you? Elara looks up. It's Lucien Durand, a soft-spoken, middle-aged librarian who has spent decades quietly helping Belleford survive its hardships. He's always been kind, always supportive, always observant. The kind of man people trust without thinking. But today his eyes carry an intensity she's never seen. I saw your face, Lucien continues. He wasn't just rude, he was cruel. In French, Elara nods, tears threatening to spill. Yes, he was. Lucien lowers his voice. And I also know you're not just a waitress. Elara freezes. Lucien reaches into his coat and pulls out a folded newspaper clipping. He sets it gently on the counter. It's an old article featuring her. Dr. Elara Moreau presents groundbreaking research at Linguistics Summit. Her past, her achievements, her life before everything fell apart. How did you? I keep archives, Lucien says with a small smile. But I never shared this. I figured you were trying to start over, trying to protect your mother. Her throat tightens. I didn't want anyone to see me as a failure. Lucien's gaze softens. Elara, having a PhD doesn't protect you from life. And life has been unkind to you. His words break something open inside her. But Lucien isn't finished. There's something else you need to know, he says, leaning in. Adrien Leclair, he's not just buying property. He's trying to cover something up. Elara's stomach knots. What cover up? Lucien pulls out a thick envelope filled with documents, property deeds, legal filings, financial discrepancies. He's been laundering money through redevelopment projects. And Belleford is next. If he acquires this block, he'll demolish evidence tied to an old factory. He secretly owns the one that caused the groundwater contamination last decade. Elara's breath catches. The contamination that killed 3 people? She whispers. 4, Lucien corrects quietly. Including your father. Her knees weaken. She grabs the counter for support. My father's death was connected to him? Lucien nods grimly. Shock gives way to something sharper. Righteous anger. A fire long suppressed. So he walks into this calf. Elara says slowly, insults this town, insults me, not knowing I'm connected to the very thing he destroyed. And not knowing, Lucien adds, that you're one of the few people who could expose him. Elara wipes her tears, breathing deeply. Hidden truth, hidden power, hidden purpose. Why are you telling me this now? She asks. Lucien folds his hands. Because the town believes in you, and because kindness doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes kindness is the shield, and truth is the sword. His words echo her mother's teachings, but sharper, stronger, evolved. Before she can answer, the caf door swings open again. This time, it's the mayor, Marion Keller, a stern but fair leader who has seen Belleford struggle for years. She approaches Elara with urgency. "Elara, I heard he was here." She looks around nervously. Adrien Leclair is filing paperwork to take the entire riverside by force. He's using emergency redevelopment loopholes. Elara's heart pounds. "Can we stop him?" "Only if someone exposes what he's really doing," Marianne says. "And we need evidence. Proof. Something airtight." Lucien slides the envelope forward. "I think we have that." Marianne's eyes widen. "Where did you get all this?" Lucien hesitates. "An old friend of mine used to work with Adrien, before his conscience got the better of him." Elara flips through the papers. Financial breaches, misappropriated funds, shell companies, everything. But one page stands out. A letter unsigned warning someone that the redevelopment plans were tied to the contaminated factory land. She reads the last line aloud. "If this town discovers what really happened, everything falls apart." Her hands shake again, but this time not with fear, with purpose, hope, rising strength. Hey, beautiful souls. If this story is hitting you the way I think it will, you're going to want to subscribe because what happens next will blow your mind. Elara looks up at Lucien and Marianne. "If we expose him, he'll fight back. Hard," she says. Marianne nods. "Yes, and he'll try to hurt you, to silence you." Elara, Lucien adds gently, "You don't have to do this alone." But Elara shakes her head. "No, I do. Because he didn't just insult me today. He insulted this entire town. He tried to break us. And he already took enough from us." She remembers Sophie crying, her mother struggling, her father's silent grave, and the years she spent hiding her brilliance because the world made her feel small. "Not anymore." "What's our plan?" she asks. Marianne spreads the documents across the counter. Step 1. Gather undeniable proof. Step 2. Board him admitting his intentions. Step 3. Bring everything to the state investigators. And Step 4? Elara asks. Lucien smiles slowly. Step 4. Expose him publicly. Make sure the world sees exactly who he is. Elara exhales, adrenaline rising. "But how do we get close enough? He already sees me as nothing." Lucien leans in. "That's your advantage." "What?" "He underestimates you," Lucien says softly. "That is your power, your hidden strength." He sees a waitress, not a woman fluent in 5 languages, not a woman with a doctorate, not a woman with everything to fight for. A slow, fierce determination fills her chest. "You think I'm small," she thinks. "You think I'm weak. You think I won't fight back. Then, let's bring him down." Marianne nods, eyes shining with fierce hope. "We'll help you. The whole town will." Elara grips the envelope. Her mother's voice echoes again. "Kindness is a language everyone understands. But sometimes truth must speak louder." The scene freezes with Elara staring out the caf window where Adrien's car is still parked across the street. Watching, waiting. And Elara, she's no longer afraid. She's planning. She's rising. Night settles over Belleford like a velvet curtain, but Elara is wide awake. She sits at her mother's old desk, papers from Lucien spread out before her, Adrien's voice still echoing in her memory. She hears Sophie breathing softly in the next room, curled under blankets that still smell faintly like her sister who passed years ago. Her mother's framed photo sits nearby, her smile tender, eyes knowing. Kindness, her mother used to say, is the gentlest power, but not the weakest. Tonight, Elara finally understands. Tonight, kindness becomes strategy. Tonight, the hunted becomes the hunter. The next morning, Elara walks into Le Petit Seal with the calm she hasn't felt in years. Lucien is already waiting at a back table, a laptop open, headphones plugged in. Marianne arrives moments later with 2 steaming cups of tea. Marianne whispers, "Are you sure about this? Once we start, there's no turning back." Elara nods. he won't see it coming. And that's exactly why it will work. Lucien taps a key on the laptop. I've reviewed everything: financial trails, shell companies, environmental violations. All we need now is a confession, something that ties him directly to the cover-up. And how do we get him to admit that? Marianne asks. Elara smiles. By letting him underestimate me. The caf door opens sharply. Adrien Leclair enters, dressed in a charcoal suit, radiating entitlement. His security guard trails behind him like a shadow. He doesn't look around, doesn't acknowledge the customers, doesn't apologize for yesterday. He sits at the same table as before, tapping impatiently. Elara approaches calmly, this time with purpose. Good morning, monsieur, she says gently. Adrien scoffs. You again? Did you at least practice carrying a tray since yesterday? The caf stiffens, but Elara smiles softly. Actually, I wanted to apologize. Adrien's eyebrows raise slightly. His ego pricks up like a cobra sensing prey. Oh, he asks, leaning back. Go on. I realized I shouldn't have reacted emotionally yesterday, she continues. You're an important man. I didn't mean to make your morning difficult. A delighted smirk spreads across his face. He laps it up like sweet wine. Well, he says, I suppose even someone like you can learn. Someone like you. The phrase cuts, but Elara shows nothing. Instead, she whispers, I overheard that you're considering purchasing this district. Maybe I could be useful? Adrien's eyes sharpen. Useful? How? I know the town, Elara says. The people trust me. If you wanted to convince them the redevelopment is good, I could help ease things. Behind her back, in her apron pocket, a tiny microphone provided by Marianne records every word. Adrien doesn't suspect a thing. You're smarter than I thought, he says, in French. Perhaps not completely worthless after all. Elara forces a shy smile. I can be discreet. If you can be honest with me. Adrien leans in, and the trap begins to snap shut. You want honesty? He says smugly. Fine. I don't care about this miserable town. What I need is the land. You saw the old factory near the river? Contaminated, dangerous, illegal. But if I own it when they demolish it, the records disappear. Elara's pulse quickens, but she keeps her face soft. I see. And Adrien continues, growing confident. Once I clear the land, I can build luxury condos. The profit will be obscene. Luxury condos, over poisoned soil, where children once played, where her father once worked, where he got sick, where he died. She inhales carefully. And the contamination? She asks lightly. Won't that implicate whoever owned it before? Adrien laughs. I own it, through layers of shell companies. No one will ever know. He says it proudly, boldly, loudly, into the microphone. Elara's hands shake in her apron, but she keeps her expression curious, even impressed. You're very clever, monsieur. Adrien smiles like a wolf. I am, and you, little waitress, may be more useful than you look. Elara pretends to be flattered, fiddling with a lock of hair. Well, if you want the townspeople on your side, maybe you should attend the community meeting tonight. Show them you care. Adrien snorts. I don't care. That's why it will work, she says sweetly. They don't know that. Adrien thinks, smirks, then nods. I'll go, and you'll introduce me. Make them trust me. Behind him, Lucien discreetly watches from his table, quiet pride in his eyes. Adrien takes another sip of coffee. Fine, tonight, but don't disappoint me. Elara nods. Oh, I won't. She turns away, her heart racing. Because tonight, Adrien Leclair will walk directly into the biggest trap Belleford has ever set. By evening, the town hall is packed. Every seat filled. People standing in aisles. The air charged with anxiety and hope. Sophie sits in the front row beside Mrs. Patel, clutching a stuffed bunny with worn-out ears, the one Elara gave her on her first day of school. Marianne stands near the podium, checking the audio equipment for the 10th time. Lucien slips Elara a small recorder. For backup, he whispers. Just in case. Elara nods. Thank you for everything. Lucien places a hand on her shoulder. Your mother would be proud. Elara's chest tightens, but she stands taller. Then the doors slam open. Adrien enters. Arrogant, smug, ready to manipulate an entire community. He scans the room, satisfied with the attention. Elara walks toward the podium, heart pounding. She leans into the microphone. Beautiful souls of Belleford, Thank you for being here tonight. The crowd murmurs warmly. Before we begin, she continues, tell me, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments if you're listening to this online. Because tonight is important. She turns to Adrien. And now, please welcome Mr. Adrien Leclair. He steps forward. The trap is ready. The audience is set. The microphones are live. Every word he speaks tonight can change everything. Adrien adjusts the microphone. Well, he begins. I suppose you all want to know the truth about my plans for this town. Elara stiffens. Lucien leans forward. Marianne's hands fly to her mouth. Sophie holds her bunny tighter. And Adrien grins, completely unaware that every secret he's about to reveal will be recorded, exposed, and used to dismantle him piece by piece. The crowd waits. Elara waits. You wait. Because what he says next will change everything. The following morning, Eddie Seal feels heavier than usual. Conversations hush when Elara walks by, not out of judgment, but concern. Word has spread quickly about the billionaire's visit, about her elegant yet cutting response, and about the meeting she's been invited to. Some customers offer soft smiles. Others slip small notes of encouragement onto the counter. Even children seem to sense something is different. But deep inside, Elara is unraveling. Her mother, sensing the tension, urges her to take the day off. You have spent years shrinking yourself so others feel comfortable. Elara, this is the moment. You own your power. Her words both comfort and scare Elara. She fears confrontation. She fears being dismissed again. She fears the old pain of watching her dreams slip away. Still, she walks back to the café for her shift, trying to ground herself in routine. That's when Adrien Leclair returns. This time he arrives without his entourage, without pomp. Yet his presence fills the café with an icy tension. People stop mid-sentence, eyes narrowing. He walks up to Elara with a cold smile, one that hides a bruised ego, and loudly greets her in French, adding a mocking bow for the benefit of the crowd. It's clear he wants to regain control, to embarrass her, to prove the previous day was a fluke. When she responds politely, he escalates, criticizing Belleford, belittling the café, dismissing her intelligence, and implying she uses language as a party trick for tips. The room stiffens. Customers bristle, torn between silence and stepping in. Elara feels her confidence slipping. His words strike the insecurity she fought years to bury, the fear of never being enough. She tries to push through, but her hands tremble. Then something unexpected happens. One by one, customers begin speaking up. A fisherman mentions how she translated medical forms for his wife. A teacher recalls how she tutored immigrant children after hours. A single mother tearfully explains how Elara paid for her groceries once, quietly and without praise. Their voices form a protective circle around her. Adrien is visibly startled, not by aggression, but by the community's unity. It is the first time anyone has openly challenged him without fear of his wealth. And it is in this moment, surrounded by others' courage, that Elara finds her own. She looks up, meeting his gaze steady, unafraid, and prepares to say the words that will define what comes next. Silence settles over Le Petit Seal. As all eyes turn to Elara, she feels the weight of the moment, not as pressure, but as support. The community stands behind her, every act of kindness she ever gave now returning to her like a rising tide. With a steady breath, she steps closer to Adrien Leclair. When she speaks, her voice is calm, unshaken. In flawless French, she begins, your wealth may give you power, Monsieur Leclair, but it does not give you worth. People earn that by how they treat others. A ripple passes through the café. She continues, not attacking, but illuminating. I serve coffee because life doesn't always follow our plans. But kindness? That's a choice. One we can make no matter where we stand. You came here seeing weakness. What you missed is strength, real strength built from caring for others. When no one is watching, Adrien's smirk falters. She presses on. This town is not perfect, but it is honest. And these people, she gestures around her, are proof that compassion grows even in struggle. If you want to invest here, invest in them, not in tearing everything down. Her words land with quiet force. For the first time, the billionaire looks genuinely shaken, not humiliated, humbled. It's as if he's seeing himself reflected through the eyes of people he's always considered beneath him, and the image is uncomfortable. A long pause follows. Then, almost reluctantly, he says, "I underestimated you." The admission is small, but for a man like him, it's seismic. He glances around at the people who defended her, people united not by wealth, but by loyalty. Something inside him shifts. He excuses himself and leaves, but not in anger, rather in reflection, as if confronting a truth he avoided for years. Elara sinks into a chair, exhausted, but proud. The café erupts in quiet applause, not for the spectacle, but for her strength. She doesn't yet know that Adrien's next decision will change not just her life, but the entire future of Belleford. Days after Adrien Leclair's stunned departure from Le Petit Seal, Belleford begins to breathe again. The town that once feared displacement now buzzes with hope. News outlets pick up whispers of the billionaire's unexpected retreat. Curiosity exploding over the story of the waitress with the PhD, who's silenced Adrien Leclair. Elara wakes early as usual, but something has shifted. She no longer walks with shoulders bent from burden. Her steps are deliberate, proud. Sophie runs to her side, giggling as if sensing her aunt's newfound confidence. At the café, Marianne kneels beside a corner table, her laptop open. Financial documents, now verified by independent auditors, reveal Adrien's illegal maneuvers, his shell companies, the contaminated factory cover-up, and the misappropriation of redevelopment funds. The files are submitted to the authorities. Adrien can no longer threaten Belleford's future. Justice, methodical and fair, has been delivered. Lucien raises his teacup to her. "You did more than defend yourself. You defended everyone here." Elara smiles, feeling the full weight of what she and the town have achieved. Every small act of kindness, every quiet effort over the years, culminated in this victory. The ripple effects are undeniable. Locals who once doubted themselves now step forward to help neighbors. Children speak up with courage, and Belleford begins rebuilding not just the physical space, but the community spirit Adrien tried to crush. That evening, the café fills with laughter, clinking cups, and familiar chatter. Sophie climbs onto her aunt's lap, her eyes wide. "You were amazing, Auntie. You made him stop being mean." Elara hugs her tightly, whispering, "Kindness isn't weakness, Sophie, and strength. Sometimes it's quiet." The camera pans across the café. The fisherman who once lost hope now shares a freshly caught fish with the elderly widow next door. Teachers gather to celebrate the children who excelled in new programs, supported by local donations. Even Lucien quietly distributes copies of Elara's story to other communities, inspiring courage for beyond Belleford. Elara glances at the window. Across the street, Adrien's office lights flicker in a lonely skyscraper, a reminder of how far the arrogant can fall when confronted with truth, justice, and humanity. She closes her eyes, letting the pride and relief wash over her. Her mother's voice echoes in her memory. "Kindness is a language everyone understands." But now Elara understands the final truth. Kindness paired with courage changes lives and can topple even the mightiest oppressor. Hey, beautiful souls. Thank you for taking this incredible journey with Elara. If her story inspired you today, hit that subscribe button and share your favorite moment in the comments. Tell us what part moved you most. And remember, kindness, courage, and speaking your truth are the strongest weapons you'll ever have.